Getting a 3D printing business off the ground is actually easier than most people think. We all see the YouTube videos of these print farms with racks and racks of printers and think to be able to make any real money, we need to make this huge investment into machines. That actually isn't the truth. In fact, I'm currently running a 6-figure print farm with just 7 machines. So will one printer make you $100,000 per year? Probably not. But can it make you $1,000, $1,200, or even $1,500 a month? I believe it can. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam, the real estate broker turned 3D printing entrepreneur. I've built multiple businesses in and around 3D printing, including a 6-figure print farm. Stick with me today as we go over all the gear I would get if I was starting my 3D printing business today. Spoiler, we are going to get all of this for under $1,000. So we are starting a 3D printing business, so naturally we will need a 3D printer. There are a ton of options here, and I've tried more than my fair share of printers. It will be tempting to go cheap here, and there are a lot of opinions on the internet of what printer should be someone's first. Some people really believe in this idea that everyone should go through the trials of getting a printer that doesn't self-level, always clogs, and it's just an overall pain. The thought is you will learn all about 3D printing by going through this. While that isn't wrong and you will learn a lot, my response is, why do I need to know? I found that people that get into 3D printing fall into one of two buckets. They are either tinkerers and they just like working on 3D printers and playing with settings and getting everything just right. The other bucket are those of us that get into it for the business opportunity it provides. Unfortunately, I found that those that fall into the first bucket have a really hard time transitioning to the business for profit bucket. Mark Cuban put it perfectly when he said perfection is the enemy of profitability. When printing for profit, you can spend ages on slicer settings and getting everything just perfect. You'll end up spending all your time working on your printers instead of your printers working for you. This was a very long-winded way of saying that the printer you should get is a Bamboo Labs P1P. In my opinion, they are the current best option for a 3D printing business. They work out of the box with no adjustments needed to the slicer settings. Combine this with the quality they generate at 3 times the speed of your traditional bed slinger machines, and it really becomes a no-brainer in a for-profit setup. This is going to be our biggest hit to our $1,000 budget with a new P1P coming in at $600. Now that we have our printer, we need the filament to create our products. The filament world is a large one, and you can get distracted with all the options out there. Just like with our printer, we need to stay focused on what our goal is here, which is to create a profitable 3D printing business. So we aren't getting carbon fiber PLA or glitters and rainbows, at least not to start. You can scale into that stuff over time, but to get our farm off the ground, we are going to keep it simple. To this day, 85% of my orders are still black, so we're going to start with just black and white filament. The Elegoo Rapid PLA Plus was designed to work with high-speed machines just like the P1P, and it was offered in 9 standard colors, which is perfect for getting started. Each spool of black is $14.99 and each spool of white is $15.99. You can get this next day on Amazon, so I'm just buying 1 spool of each and we'll purchase more as the sales come in. So this makes our startup filament cost $30.98. All right, we have the printer and we have our filament, but what are we going to sell? The most profitable thing to do here is to design and sell your own models. For most people though, that isn't a possibility when they are getting started. 3D modeling is a skill that takes a long time to develop, and for people just starting out, it's probably not the best use of your time. You can be very profitable without having to design all your own models. There are many designers out there that license their designs out so others can sell them commercially. This is actually one of our 3D printing businesses. All the models that built our Etsy shop from 0 sales to over 12,000 with annual revenue over 100,000 can be licensed out through our Thangs profile. If you are interested in seeing those models, we'll link them below. We are just one of hundreds of creators that license their catalog though, so scroll through Thangs and see what kind of models resonates with you. One word of caution though, not all models are designed with profitability in mind. All of our models we created were designed in a way to make them as profitable as possible when selling. Not all designers model with that in mind. So though a model may be cool, make sure you ask yourself, can I print and sell this at a price that results in profit? Some models, no matter how cool, just aren't profitable. Most license plans start at $10 a month, so you could sign up for 2 or 3 designers, have access to hundreds of models you can list and sell, and it will only cost you about $30 to get started. We aren't going to make any profit if we don't have an outlet to sell our 3D printed items. Etsy really is the no-brainer for someone getting started. It has super low startup costs, and you only get charged when you make a sale. Etsy charges a 20-cent listing fee for every new listing created. They did just announce though that they are rolling out a $15 shop setup fee. I'm not sure if that is live yet, but we'll include it in the cost just in case. Etsy is a numbers game, so we will want to launch our shop with enough listings to set ourselves up for success. There is a lot of strategy around creating listings, which I've done a number of videos on. So make sure to check out those videos linked below. For our example here, we are going to try to get 20 listings up to launch with. So we will have a $15 setup fee plus our 20-cent per listing, brings our total Etsy startup cost to $19. Okay, so we are producing products. We are listing and selling them on Etsy. Our last startup expense we need to tackle is our shipping supplies. Once you make a sale, it's on you to box up your order and ship it to your customer. Once you get established and are making consistent sales, I highly recommend you work with a supplier that can supply you with everything you need to ship your products out. What I did though, and what you can do to start with, is just buy a handful of supplies from Amazon to get started. I'll link all these supplies in the description. I also have my current supply list on our links page, which you can see here if you want to see what I'm using today. First up is boxes. It's going to depend on the product you end up selling, but when I got started, I found a 6x6x6 and an 11x5x8 box were great options, and I was able to fit all of my products into one of them. We'll start with 50 boxes here. You'll want some filler material so the items don't bounce around in shipment. I really like this honeycomb expanding paper. It's cheap and it just does a great job. We'll need some tape to seal everything up. You can get a 6-pack off of Amazon for about 25 bucks. A thermal label printer is awesome, but not a must to get started. For about a year, I just printed the shipping labels on printer paper and taped it onto the box. So we'll price out a cheap desktop printer with some paper. So our total to get us a shipping station set up is going to be $133.48. All right, we have a working farm and we got the whole thing set up for $813.46. Look at that, came in under budget. There is no doubt in my mind that with this setup, you could produce $1,000 a month in revenue. What makes 3D printing great is that it's very easy to scale your print farm as your sales grow. Once you start getting more orders than you can get out with the one machine, just drop another one in. Once you start having to box up multiple orders in one day, maybe invest in a thermal printer with labels that you can just stick on the box. Unlike many businesses where you need to come out of the gate with a ton of revenue to pay for all of your startup costs, 3D printing allows you to start with a relatively small investment and grow as your sales grow. Getting set up is just one piece to running a profitable 3D printing business. This is why I created 3dprintforce.com. It's the only online tool created for 3D printing businesses to help them make sure they are pricing their products correctly, resulting in consistent profit. You can use the link in the description to make your free account if you want. I made a lot of mistakes along the way to becoming an Etsy top 1% seller. If you want to avoid one of the biggest mistakes I ever made, make sure to watch this video here. I still think I might be recovering from it. Go ahead and click it, and I'll see you over there.